Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to engage in what I call a necessary act of discipline.
I like that. Discipline.
We are setting aside the hype, all of it. The venture capital announcements, the noise that just surrounds AI constantly.
It's everywhere.
Our mission is intensely focused. It's strictly operational. We're analyzing the reality of AI adoption, but purely through the lens of execution.
Right. And clear ownership, measurable business outcomes. That's the key.
That's it.
And that operational tension you mentioned, that's the exact focus of this deep dive. This is really for you if you're a senior executive, a functional leader, an operator who actually has to deliver tangible results.
Right.
We're evaluating AI as just a reliable operational input, nothing more. The real challenge is moving past that optimistic framing.
And making sure it actually works.
That it produces reliable, measurable, and importantly, sustainable value in your existing workflows.
That's the mandate.
Yeah.
So we're going to maintain a calm, analytical, almost executive-level tone here.
Yep.
We are excluding all discussions of market speculation, futurism, vendor tool reviews. None of that.
Yeah.
If it doesn't contribute directly to reducing operational friction,
It's out.
improving decision quality, or clarifying the really critical trade-offs, it's out. We're here for clarity and, I think, immediate decision usefulness.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Okay.
I think we should start with the most foundational flaw.
Yeah.
The one that consistently undermines these huge initiatives.
Please do. Where are organizations failing? I mean, before they even write the first line of code or sign a big contract?
The foundational flaw is it's pervasive. We call it AI as strategy confusion.
AI is strategy confusion.
Organizations consistently treat AI as a strategy in itself, a primary identity, a destination, rather than what it is.
Would you?
A capability, just a capability that enables a superior operating strategy.
Okay, I have to challenge that a little bit because on its face, that sounds plausible. The technology is genuinely transformative, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So if something can fundamentally change business models, your competitive advantages, shouldn't we elevate it to a strategic focus? Shouldn't a firm want to be defined by that?
It's seductive, I get it. But operationally, it's poison. It really is.
Why?
When you elevate AI to a primary strategy, you immediately create this immense hidden operational risk. Just think about what happens.
Okay.
Becoming an AI company, that's not a measurable goal for an operator,
Yeah.
right? It's an aspiration. And that lack of clarity, it just leads to unclear objectives for the teams doing the work.
And what happens when the objectives are unclear?
Ownership gets scattered. All of a sudden, you have teams and R&D, IT, all these different business units, all claiming they're responsible for a piece of the pie.
But no one owns the whole pie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No one is accountable for the integrated result. And this leads to just intense activity, massive experimentation, huge spending that ultimately has no measurable impact.
So you get activity, but you don't get a result.
That's it. AI is a means to execute an existing strategy, a better strategy, like superior customer service or faster time to market. It can't be the strategy itself. It's a hammer, not a blueprint.
That reframes the entire discussion. The goal isn't to do AI. The goal is to use AI to do something else better.
Precisely.
Okay, so if that's the flawed thinking, let's pivot. What actually works in practice? In operating environments that are getting real results, what's the test they're applying?
The test is refreshing because it avoids novelty. What works is evaluating AI in exactly the same way you'd evaluate any other operational capability.
Like a new CRM system or something.
Exactly. Or redesigning a manufacturing process, launching a compliance function. It has to earn its place in the operating model. It's not special.
So let's detail those non-negotiable success criteria, because if you're not meeting these rigorously, the principle should be you just don't use the tech at all.
Absolutely. We've actually distilled this down into something we call the 5 operational principles test. It really emphasizes decision design and process clarity.
Okay, walk me through the first one.
First, does it reduce operational friction? And I'm not talking about theoretical time savings.
Right.
I mean, does it demonstrably remove handoffs, eliminate redundant human review steps, smooth out bottlenecks that you know exist right now? If the AI adds new steps, even tiny ones, it's increasing friction.
Got it. Okay, and the second principle.
Second, does it improve decision quality? This is critical. We have to look beyond just speed.
So not just faster, but better.
Better. Quality means a measurably higher ROI. It means accelerating your reaction time when the stakes are high, or just achieving fewer failed business outcomes. If the AI only makes low-stakes decisions faster, frankly, it's a distraction. It has to enhance judgment on high-value tasks.
Which flows right into the third one, I assume. Does it support execution reliability?
Precisely. Execution reliability is all about consistency, predictability, especially when the system is under real-world pressure. Can your team rely on the output to be correct and compliant, say, 99% of the time in all kinds of conditions?
And if it needs constant supervision?
If the system has high variance, if it needs extensive babysitting, it fails this test. It doesn't matter how smart the model is in theory.
Okay, and the last two principles, they sound like they're more about the organizational structure around it.
That's right. Fourth is ownership clear. We'll dive deeper here, but accountability for the result has to go to a functional leader, not a platform team.
And then number 5.
Fifth, are the outcomes measurable? The metric must tie directly to a business outcome you can see on a balance sheet or in a functional KPI report. The key insight here is rigor.
Total rigor.
If these 5 conditions aren't met, the discipline principle says that AI initiative has to be shelved, or at least completely redesigned.
That's a powerful veto. Okay, so before we celebrate these 5 criteria, we have to talk about where this breaks down. Let's look at the failure patterns, the behaviors, the measurement errors that should be, immediate red flags for any executive.
We can categorize these into 2 groups. The first is about organizational handoffs and ownership. This is where the bright promise of a pilot just completely collapses in reality.
The pilot to production collapse.
Yes.
Why do these experiments that look so great in a sandbox just fail the second they touch real operations?
There are 3 core causes. 1, no owner is defined after the pilot phase. The research team built the prototype, they got their win, and they moved on to the next shiny object.
But the operational team, the one that has to live with it.
They were never forced to adopt full accountability for it. It was tossed over the wall. 2, there's an absence of a complete integration plan. The technology wasn't designed to live inside your existing systems. It was a standalone demo.
Not a scalable component that actually works with legacy platforms.
Right. And the third cause gets to the messy reality of the operating environment.
Oh, yeah.
Failure to define tolerance levels for errors. Real-world data is messy. So your pricing AI might be 95% accurate in the lab, but what if that 5% error means you lose a key contract? Or you trigger a regulatory fine?
That variance kills all the confidence.
It kills it. When error tolerances aren't defined and accepted by the operator, the system is rejected as soon as it makes its first real-world mistake.
And that failure, it seems like it ties directly into that organizational nightmare of ownership ambiguity. Diffused responsibility seems to be a huge, costly problem here.
It is, because when no single person is clearly accountable for the AI-driven decisions, the organization defaults to one of 2 very expensive and risky behaviors.
What's the first one?
On one hand, you get institutional risk avoidance. This looks like an operations manager demanding 100% human review of every single output.
Which completely negates the value proposition.
It negates the entire time-saving argument because they don't have the clarity or the authority to trust the system.
And the other side of that coin is just as bad, I imagine.
It's dangerous over-reliance. When no single functional leader feels they can challenge the system, or worse, they're pressured to just trust the smart technology, they allow a dangerous dependency to build up, often without any real monitoring or understanding of its limits.
No, the accountability chain is broken.
Completely, making audit trails and postmortems almost impossible.
Okay, let's move to measurement and behavioral failures. The first one is a classic technology trap. We see it in every single cycle. Tool-first adoption.
This is a pattern where teams go out and acquire these expensive, very sophisticated tools before they've even defined a high-value business problem.
And then they're stuck with it.
They become captive to what we call solution-seeking behavior. They spend months trying to find a problem that's worthy of their expensive new tool. It's a massive waste of effort. The solution is desperately looking for a home, and it often settles for a low-value task just to justify the investment.
And then there's the counterintuitive result that so many leaders ignore: increased workload. Everyone assumes AI means less work.
But operationally, it so often just shifts the burden.
How does it shift it?
It shifts it into new, tedious, non-automated steps. Think about a claims adjuster. The AI might give them an instant summary of a complex case, which sounds great.
Sounds efficient.
But because the adjuster wasn't involved in generating it, they now have to spend significant time on trust verification steps, cross-checking 3 different system screens to make sure the AI didn't miss some tiny detail that could expose the company to risk.
So the system actually introduces review overhead exception handling protocols.
Exactly. Instead of reducing work, the AI just inserts new human-required non-automated steps right into the middle of the workflow. The total process time hasn't shrunk at all. The work has just been reallocated to verification and risk mitigation.
And finally, the quiet killer of any real upside, the over-automation of low-value decisions.
Organizations do this because it's safe, it's easy. They prioritize automating the low-risk task scheduling, simple data entry, just so they can demonstrate a success metric and get a quick win.
But by automating the easy decisions, they're avoiding the complex areas where the real value is.
They're avoiding the areas that require high-value human judgment, so you get severely limited upside potential. And worse, you create this misplaced organizational confidence that your AI is robust, when really it's only been tested on tasks where failure doesn't matter. The capability you developed isn't transferable to the high-stakes games where the real value lies.
These failure patterns, they really highlight the need for a simple mental model, a way to cut through all this complexity. So let's reintroduce that framework for our listeners, the one they can reuse immediately. We called it the 5 Operational Principles Test.
This is the evaluation lens. It's designed for disciplined decision-making. You take any proposed AI initiative, any at all, and you hold it up against those 5 non-negotiable questions.
Let's run through them again quickly.
Does it demonstrably reduce operational friction? Does it improve the quality of high-value decisions? Does it support execution reliability? Is operational ownership clear? And are the outcomes measurably better for the business?
So if a listener applies this framework, what's the most useful output they're going to get from that exercise?
Explicitly, it supports disciplined decision-making by forcing teams to clarify the critical trade-offs and the constraints, and to do it early. It grounds the whole discussion in measurable, technical, and organizational reality.
It forces the hard question.
It forces the answer to the crucial question. If this system fails, who pays the price, and how quickly can we recover? If you can't answer the 5 principles test with high confidence, the initiative is just not operationally ready, period.
Okay, we have to talk about measurement now, because this is where executives are so often misled. They sign off on these initiatives based on metrics that look good but mean nothing. We need to define and reject these vanity metrics.
Vanity metrics are so dangerous because they're emotionally satisfying, but they're financially misleading. We have to reject the common ones. Time saved, accuracy improvements, and usage statistics.
Why are those so bad?
Well, time saved on task A, as we just discussed, might just be time spent on trust verification in task B. An accuracy improvement measured in a lab almost never correlates perfectly with the outcome in a messy, real-world process.
And usage statistics.
This just tells you people are clicking. It doesn't tell you they're getting value or that the business result actually improved.
So if those are useless for an operator, what does accountable measurement actually look like? What outcomes really matter at that executive level?
Success has to be evaluated through measurable outcomes that directly align with tangible, predefined operational goals.
Give me an example.
This means metrics like reduced time to decision for high-value strategic investments, or verifiable reliability improvements in a specific audited part of the supply chain, like a reduction in expedited shipping costs. The metric has to tie back to business value you can prove on a P&L or in a risk report.
And this brings us right back to ownership of those results. It can't be the tech department that claims victory here, right?
Absolutely not. Accountability for that measurable outcome has to be clearly assigned to the functional leader or the operator who owns the actual business result. If the AI is used in customer service, the head of customer service owns the result.
And the consequences.
And the consequences of the system's success or failure, not the chief data officer. They own the operational outcome because they're responsible for the human or financial impact of that outcome.
Before we close out, we have to clearly define the constraints. When is it appropriate to not use this disciplined operational approach? We need to be really clear about the boundaries, no hedging.
This rigorous operational approach should not be applied if the core conditions, friction reduction, clear ownership, measurable outcomes, are just fundamentally not met. Applying AI in those contexts is an act of, let's call it, technological enthusiasm, not discipline.
And it just increases risk.
It increases operational risk and cost, and it won't deliver the dividend you need.
And just to reinforce our mission statement from the top, what are we explicitly excluding from the scope of this operational lens?
We need to reiterate that this disciplined, outcome-oriented approach does not apply to areas that, while interesting, just don't provide operational clarity or utility. This includes vendor comparisons, general trend analysis, market hype, speculation about long-term disruption.
Why exclude those?
Because they only add excitement and noise. They don't contribute to clarity, accountability, or decision usefulness for the functional operator on the ground.
This has been a necessary dose of analytical rigor. What's the core judgment you want our listener to take away today, synthesizing everything we've covered?
The core judgment is this. Evaluate AI solely on its capacity to function as a reliable operational capability. Full stop. Prioritize the disciplined analysis of documented trade-offs, the known friction, the known risks, the cost of human verification over chasing promised efficiency gains or some speculative certainty.
Focus on stabilizing what you have.
Focus on stabilizing the existing operating model, not disrupting it for disruption's sake.
And let's end with a final operating principle, something that builds on that necessity of clarity for our executive listeners.
If a point, a metric, or an entire AI initiative adds excitement but does not explicitly contribute to clarity, accountability, or execution reliability within your documented operating model, it must be excluded. Operational discipline is the highest priority. Enthusiasm cannot be confused with organizational readiness.